PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave, and this is the first in a short series of tutorials called Tone Talk. Basically a short series of videos looking at what you can do to get the most out of your guitar gear to give you the best possible sound for you. So not about reviewing specific pieces of equipment, but more looking at what you can do with the guitar, pedals, amplifiers, all the things that go between the string and either a recording device or the listener's ears, and what affects how the guitar sounds. Some of it is like showing you what the conventional wisdom is and different ways you can perhaps deviate from that conventional wisdom to give yourself something that's personal to you and possibly works for your particular playing context. First off in the series we're going to talk about effects pedals, because they play a big part in your sound. Now some people have a very minimalist setup, other people have something really complex. This is going to talk about things in fairly general terms. Important thing, and something I get asked a lot about in terms of effects, is what is the correct order to put my pedals in. And here the word correct is it's a bit of a strange word, because there's what is like the accepted wisdom, and to be honest that's kind of what I've got down on my pedal board, follows the accepted wisdom, but there's plenty arguments for deviating away from that and giving you things that work. As a general rule, effects pedals should be grouped and ordered like this. First in the chain are things like filters, so wah-wah pedals, compressors, things like that. Then drive pedals. Exception to that is fuzz. If you've got a fuzz pedal, that should come as early in the chain as possible. After the drive pedals, we get into things like modulation, so chorus, phasers, flanges. Then into the time-based effects like delays and reverbs, and then that goes into your amp. If your amp has got a gain stage on it, so like a two channel amp, or just a one channel amp where you can turn up the gain and give yourself a drive sound, you kind of run into problems, because if you want to put those effects that should be after the gain stage, you can't put those in front of the amp. So a lot of amps will have an effects loop built in. I did a video a good few years ago now, but I'll put a link to it in the information section down there. Talks a little bit more about amps and preamps and power amps and effects loops and things like that. But basically that's the general order of your effects: filters, drive, modulation and time-based effects. The order that I've got my pedals in here kind of follows that, but like I say, you can deviate from that if you want. One thing I'll mention is tuners. I personally put a tuner at the start of my signal chain, basically because when I tune I want the cleanest possible signal from the guitar going into that. There is an argument actually, if you've got a very noisy signal chain, have the tuner at the end, because if you use that as a mute, then if you've got any noise coming from your pedals when you stamp on the tuner to tune your guitar, it'll kill out any noise from the other pedals. It's whatever works best for you, like I say. But really here we're talking about order of effects for tone of the guitar. So let's get into playing something. Now for this video I'm using this guitar. It's my Thompson Custom, DiMarzio Tone Zone at the bridge and a DiMarzio PAF Original at the neck. Using the PV Valve King 50 amp, using no real effects on the board other than ones I specifically mentioned when I'm doing demos, so the reverb you're hearing is the one that's built into the amp, and any drive sounds are coming from the drive channel, the dirty channel on the amp. Clean sound sounds like this. And the dirty channel sounds like this. Okay, so that sound there is just a straightforward drive sound. No effects in the chain at all, just using the dirty channel on the amp. Let's play around and add in some modulation effects. Now these are ones that traditionally and conventional wisdom would say would come after the drive. So the pedals you can hear now are ones that's actually in the effects loop. First off, let's try some chorus. I've got the Boss CH1 Super Chorus down there on the board. So this is the sound of the guitar without any modulation effects. Now add in the chorus pedal. bit of rewiring, and the chorus is now in front of the amp, so we're going from the guitar into the chorus pedal, then into the drive on the dirty channel of the amp, and it sounds like this. Now, I don't know about you, but to my ears, I think the chorus effect is a lot more subtle when it's going into the drive rather than when it was in the effects loop. You know, it's still there. This is without. This is with. But when it's going into the front of the amp, it's not quite so pronounced. Whether you think that sounds better or worse than when it was in the loop, it's purely subjective. Like I said, the conventional wisdom is to have it in the loop after the drive, but it doesn't sound wrong, it just sounds different when you push it into the drive channel on the amp. Let's try something similar with a phase pedal. So down on the board as well, I've got the rather splendid Darth phaser from Flatley Guitar Pedals. This is currently in the effects loop. Bit of an extreme setting that actually. I've got the controls set a little bit higher perhaps than I normally would, but it's just basically for the purposes of comparison, because now let's try that going into the front of the amp, so we're hearing the phaser before the drive. Again, like the example with the chorus, it sounds different when you put the phaser in front of the drive section. The effect's a little bit more subtle. Again, it's not wrong, it just sounds different. Now, whether you preferred it the first way, following conventional wisdom that says put it in the effects loop, or you preferred it the second way, where we actually go into the drive section. Now, both the examples there with the chorus and the phaser, I'm keeping the settings on the pedals the same for the loop and front of the amp settings. You might find that in certain situations you want the controls on a pedal set in a particular way to give you a really good sound when it's in the loop. Putting it in front of the amp, those settings might not quite be doing it for you, and you want to tweak them. That's what the controls are on the pedal there for, to help you dial in the sound. What I'm really kind of getting at in this video is the conventional wisdom for what order your pedals go in states one thing, but you can mix and match just to see what works best for you. So perhaps use that conventional pedal order as a starting point for you, for your signal chain, and then experiment by moving things around and see what you can find that might work better for you. You know, it's not about getting a sound that's textbook correct. It's about getting a sound that you think works for you, that you like, that it inspires you to play. You want to make it part of you and have that as your sound. Something to bear in mind though is that the order of the pedals on your pedal board doesn't have to necessarily follow your signal chain. There's an argument for doing it like that, because that means your pedals are just joined by very short patch cables. Less cable means less signal loss. However, there's an argument for having pedals perhaps in a different order, and certainly that's what I've got in a couple of places down on my board. And I'll have the signal path going like in pedal, 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 and then a cable that goes back to something in a different place on the board, and then another longer cable to go to a pedal down here. The reason for doing it like that, really, it just allows you to have pedals together that you might want to stand on together. You know, so if you regularly switch say compressor and chorus off and on together, having those sort of out of signal chain order but together on the board means you can put your foot down sort of almost sideways and press the two pedals together to switch those off and on. You know, if you haven't got something like a multi-pedal switching system, which is kind of a step up from just having a basic pedal board. So bear that in mind. Cable does mean signal loss, but sometimes a little bit of extra, tiny little bit of extra cable really is not going to make a noticeable difference to your sound, but it'll give you a a more useful pedal layout on the board. Hope you found that useful. If you did, please click like. If you really enjoyed it, you want to see other videos, like I said, this is going to be part of a series. If you click on the subscribe button down there, you'll be notified of any other videos I post onto the PhatPhish Guitar Studio YouTube channel. If you like it enough to tell me about it, you're welcome to leave a comment down there. But if you've got a question or suggestion for future video or anything like that, it's probably better to go here. Send your question in through that form. I don't always see comments left on videos, but that form's a much more reliable way of getting in touch with me. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video next time. Bye for now.